Today, the fourth day of the Sinn Féin rising, opened with the grim but as yet unofficial report of the shooting of Mr. Francis Sheehy Skeffington at Portobello Barracks yesterday morning. According to our information, Mr. Sheehy Skeffington was shot by firing squad, together with Mr. Thomas Dixon, editor of the Eye Opener, and Mr. Patrick McIntyre, editor of Searchlight. We interviewed Captain J.C. Bowen Colthurst at Portobello Barracks early today.
Captain Bowen Colthurst, why were these three men executed?
I am as good an Irishman as the rebels are. That crowd of murderers. And I lost a brother in this war.
That's not quite what I meant.
So, I suppose I shall get into trouble for it.
Captain Bowen Colthurst, are you saying that these executions were carried out on your own initiative?
It was my duty. In this book, in the Holy Bible, there is the passage, "And these my enemies, who will not have me to rule over them, bring them forth and slay them." I was obeying the word of God. That was my initiative.
Throughout last night, the rebels on the roof of the General Post Office watched the red glow in the sky which marked the end of Clanwilliam House, the scene of yesterday's battle in which 220 British soldiers were killed. Today, not a minute passes without an artillery shell crashing into the centre of Dublin, fired by either one of the field guns in the Trinity College area or by the gunboat Helga. One of the first places to be hit was the Irish Times printing office in Lower Abbey Street. A fire was started, which is still blazing, unchecked. In central areas, the plight of the civilian population grows more acute by the hour. Factories, banks, offices, shops, schools, all are closed. There are no postal services, no trams. In many back streets, the dead have been lying for days, unburied. Food is virtually unobtainable in the poorer districts, where hundreds of families are believed to be starving. The threat of a typhoid epidemic looms over the entire city. And yet, on the outskirts, the holiday atmosphere of Spring Show Week still prevails. Workers whose offices and factories have been closed by the rising are crowding onto the beaches. At Howth earlier this morning, we spoke to one of the many keen golfers who are making the most of the spring sunshine.
Tell me, sir, would you be here playing golf if it weren't for the rebellion?
Good Lord, no. I'm just trying to make the best of things. One has to grin and bear it, you know.
May I ask if you're in business?
Not really. I'm a professional man. Offices in Stephen's Green. Or at least they were in Stephen's Green. For all one knows, they may be a pile of rubble by now. Fortunes of war, I expect.
Sir, what are your personal feelings about what has happened?
You mean the rebellion? Well, frankly, I think they've gone a bit too far. All this destruction of property and people getting killed. I mean to say, if they want to dress up in uniforms and pretend as soldiers, well, let them. But for God's sake, don't they know there's a war on?
Would you like to live under a Republican government?
No.
How do you think this rising will end?
But they haven't an earthly. Never did have. Beats me why they started in the first place.
Sir, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
We have just learned that the fire in the Irish Times printing office has spread across Lower Abbey Street to Wynn's Hotel. Both buildings and a rebel barricade at the junction of Sackville and Lower Abbey Street are burning fiercely. So far, and this may be an ominous sign, the fire brigade has not arrived on the scene.
This is Murray Taylor speaking to you from the post office. Today, the men seem downcast by comparison with the high spirits of the first 3 days. Undoubtedly, this is due to the use of artillery by the British forces. So far, there has been no direct hit on the GPO. But the psychological effect of the bombardment has been tremendous. It is as if the men know now, beyond all doubt, that they cannot possibly win. The far side of the main counter has been turned into a hospital for the wounded, and I can see Lieutenant John Mahoney talking to the rebel quartermaster, Desmond Fitzgerald.
Dear man, I don't care whether you're a doctor or not. You're in enemy uniform and you're a prisoner. You'll have to remain a prisoner. Now, you can either come down here and lend a hand, or you can go back to your friends upstairs.
I should need more bandages than you have here.
Right, I'll see to it.
Oh, and I could do with some better syringes.
My God, it's now a car!
Open fire!
Fall in. Come along now. Anyone who isn't on special duty... No, not you. Back to the door. Attention! By the right number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
At ease. The enemy has brought artillery to bear on our positions, not to mention an armoured vehicle which has been coped with. Silence! Now, these are not necessarily bad omens. It means that they are in a hurry to finish us off, possibly because assistance is on the way to us from the country. I have learned that Wexford has risen, and from there and Dundalk, columns of volunteers are marching on Dublin. In the meantime, our positions are holding. The Lillenhall barracks have been captured by Commandant Daly, and news of successful engagements has come to us from Meath and North County Dublin. We have every reason for confidence. Now, there is another matter. The Irish Republic has been in existence for the past 3 full days. This means that we are entitled by international law to the status of belligerents, and we have the right to send delegates to any peace conference which may follow the war.
Well, I can't say what the insurgents' status is as regards international law, but it does seem as though Commandant Pearce has been misinformed as to the support he may expect from the country. No doubt owing to Professor McNeill's order countermanding the rising, only in counties Galway, Wexford and Louth has there been any form of organised insurrection. The towns of Athenry and Enniscorthy are reported held by the insurgents, but there has been no sign of a march on Dublin from either area. Volunteers are said to be moving southwards from Louth, but in small numbers. Now, we hope to bring you scenes of the fighting at the South Dublin Union in a moment or two, but in the meantime, let's find out what citizens of Dublin think of all this.
What? What do I think? I tell you what I think. They ought to be shot, the whole lot of them. Murdering poor innocent people. Oh, shooting's too good for them. The body can't even go to the post office to draw a few shillings compensation money over them. Will you stop it, the lot of you? My husband is out in the trenches fighting for his king and country. Well, all them bastards is good enough for us, disrupting respectable people and making a show of their country. I'll kill you, mind. Of course, it's their poor mothers I feel sorry for. They're the ones who have to suffer. Oh, I'd shoot a lot of them. God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King.
And now, here is a report from the South Dublin Union.
In the South Dublin Union, the insurgents under Commandant Eamon Cant are fighting a last-ditch retreat. For 3 days now, against heavy odds and hampered by not knowing their way around this bewildering maze of storehouses and courtyards, the rebel forces have been steadily reduced. Only 2 small garrisons are left. As British troops tunnel their way into one of the rooms off this very hallway, the entrance to the nurse's home, Commandant Cant is evacuating his tiny unit.
Out the back. And take the first cover you can find. Keep down. Keep down. They're all over the place. Come on, lads. Through there.
From the roof of the Metropole Hotel, a wounded man can be seen crawling towards the sanctuary of the post office. The man, one more victim of this week of violence, is dressed in the uniform of the Citizen Army and seems to have been wounded in the leg. From this height, identification is difficult, and yet the man bears a striking resemblance to...
It's Commandant Connolly. He's been shot. He was over in Abbey Street with McLaughlin. Shot. Come on, all right, make way. Quick, back. That's it. Make way there. Come on, quickly. Make way there. Come on, make way, quick. Get back to your post. There's nothing to gawk at. Where's that English doctor? Tell him he's wanted. Have a bed prepared. Hurry.
An hour ago, Commandant Connolly left here to conduct a party of men to Middle Abbey Street. We can only assume that he was wounded on his way back to the post office. Whether his injuries are serious or not, it's difficult to say. But plainly, the incident will have a profound effect on the morale of the men here.
Now, please stand back. I need room. Do as he says. Scissors. Well, is he all right? Fetch me Lieutenant Manning. Yes, sir. Tourniquet. I was in Middle Abbey Street. A bullet must have ricocheted. Seems a long time ago. I crawled all the way back. I must have fainted a few times. See if you can make me a splint. How bad is it? Well, the bone's fractured. It's pierced the skin. I'm afraid you'll have to be operated on. What, here? Well, there's nowhere else. Will you lend a hand? Well, what do you want me to do? Well, I have some hospital experience, but I'm not qualified. You are. Will you operate?
Will you handle the anesthetic?
Yes, but there's only chloroform.
Oh, good luck.
Get me some chloroform and anesthetic ether.
Yes,
if they're
sir.
not here, they'll have to be sent for. And I want this bed screened off.
Right, I'll see it. And I'll need all the instruments sterilized. One of the women can do it. And clean dressings. Oh, Mr.
Ryan.
Well, Mr. Ryan, I'm going to have to take out the bone splinters and then see if I can stop the bleeding. But the sooner we do it, the better. The ankle is smashed. The pain must be unbearable.
Well, let's get ready then.
Are there any other medical men here?
No, just myself and his nibs, McLaughlin. He hasn't had much experience.
The instruments will be ready in a minute.
Oh, my God, my God.
We'll be operating in a minute or two. When you wake up, you'll be as right as rain.
I don't believe a word of it. This is the second time today that Commandant Connolly has been injured.
What?
He was shot in the arm, flesh wound.
Oh! Well, it won't be much longer. We'll soon fix you up.
You know, you must be the best thing we've captured all week.
I want these people out of here.
Yes.
Now, relax. Breathe deeply.
At the South Dublin Union, Commandant Cant and his unit have taken refuge in an abandoned dormitory. Defeat is written in every face. No sentries have been posted. For these men, the fight is over. Outnumbered and demoralized, they are waiting capture, or worse.
It is night time. Throughout the day, the fires in Lower Abbey Street have been spreading, and now an entire block of Sackville Street is ablaze. One building after another has been consumed by the flames. The Dublin Bread Company, the Waverley Hotel, Hopkins and Hopkins, and now the Imperial Hotel and Cleary's are beginning to burn. It seems as if nothing can prevent the destruction of what until a few hours ago was the finest street in Europe.
One small party after another has made its way here across the inferno of Sackville Street and under heavy enemy fire. No one knows for how long this sanctuary can hold out. It'll take only a few sparks or a change of wind to turn the post office into a blazing tinderbox. Already the heat is intense. Explosives are being brought down to the basement. Outside the building, the scene is as bright as day.
Keep those doors half open. One man coming across. Make more room in the infirmary. Some of them are wounded. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
It's the oil works opposite. My God, look at the flames. This is the first time a capital city has burned down since Moscow.
I wonder we'll all come through it. But I think it was the right thing to do.
What's up?
Well, your friends, Chalmers and King, have been moved to the basement. Now, we may have to evacuate this position tomorrow. If you manage to make contact with an enemy unit, you can tell them where your friends are.
Yes.
How's General Connolly?
Well, he's still in pain. I've done all I can.
Oh, yes, I know that.
You've thrown yourselves into a trap. Why couldn't you have taken to the fields and the hills? You might have won.
Oh, well. We live and learn.
Live, did you say?
If we lose, it will mean the end of everything. And when we're wiped out, people will blame us and condemn us. Perhaps in a few years, they'll see what we were trying to do.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Did anyone ever suffer like this for his country?